Good. I
I don't know. Is it started? Yes, here we
yeah.
go.
All
Hi,
right.
and welcome to Intuitive Insights. On this channel, we discuss everything to do with the Ascension process. And today is a super special day because, as you can see, we have the lovely Miss Kayla here with us again. And so we're just going to have a conversation and, talk about what we've been experiencing and what's been going on. And I'm sure Kayla has some hellos to say.
Yes. I'm so excited to be doing this with you guys, and I've missed it so much. I've missed just being able to make videos and be with Kassia, and it's definitely been interesting to say the least with all the changes that are going on. And just for a heads up, I have screaming children running around me, so don't mind. Don't mind that. I just tune them out, so I'm hoping that you all can do the same. And yeah, I just basically wanted to talk about, what's been going on and the energies that I've been picking up on. And um, it's it's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride. There's been so many changes in my physical and in my physical world. But basically, how I was talking about the timeline jumping and things of that nature. So all of that stuff has happened now in the physical, and I wasn't quite ready for it. um, which, spirit, it goes in alignment with just trusting spirit and trusting the process. And as things are starting to align physically and all these changes are happening, there's been so many lessons around really trusting in the fact that I can hold my own light and carry that through with me no matter what's going on in the physical world, and especially with this pandemic, or whatever it is that's going on with this COVID-19 thing and all the changes in our system. It's been such a good lesson in really using those things that I've learned, like meditation and yoga, and um, really tuning in and going within and using those tools that I integrated in. And also, I had received a lot of activations, which we talk about a lot. And so those activations, those light activations, they came through like with the cosmic mind awakening. And now they're anchoring into the heart for that cosmic heart awakening, because we are anchoring in that fifth dimensional heart centered consciousness. So yeah. Do you have anything to add to that with the cosmic heart awakening or the heart centered awakening? You have.
Oh, it's such a beautiful process. As I was listening to you talk, it was just making me smile, like from the heart,
Yeah.
of that integration into that, because that heart is the gateway, it's the center for everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. It's, that center that opens us up to receive, that connects the higher energies and the for lack of better terminology, and the lower energies, and everything just lives in that space. And that's how we connect into that 5D grid, and that's how we move into that fifth dimension, is through that opening of the heart. So it's just so beautiful when that process starts unfolding.
It
And
really
i
is.
can see i can see it on you, like it's like radiating out of you. It's so beautiful. I haven't gotten to see Kayla's face too much lately, so this is
I
a special
know.
treat for me. It's just like I can feel that, and I can see that. And that's the thing, is when we start awakening, it's like it's not even, like we don't have to go around and tell people like, oh, I'm woke and all this stuff like that, and like, all of that. It resonates from us. It's an energy, it's a feeling. It's like we can see it, it's an experience of being in that person's presence, and like you just feel that, and it's when you and that energy goes out further than just our presence, right? And that's what draws everything into us. That's what draws in the people, the experiences, the abundance, is the opening up of that energy.
It's so true. And also, I did go through like a mini dark night of the soul, because I had realized that I was spiritually bypassing a lot of things that really needed to be recognized, and those shadow aspects, which are still coming up, and I'm always, dealing with them because I'm in this body on this earth. But it's like now, because I have the awareness and I've had that cosmic mind awakening, now when those things come up, I know what's going on and I feel safer about what's happening, and I'm able to just observe the process of releasing belief systems that aren't serving me or things that were programmed into me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not me. Oh my gosh, I don't want to bring that with me. Okay, like just release that. No, that's not yours. And then like as I'll take on other people's energies, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's not mine. I don't need to take that with me. And so it's just been like this weird phase of anchoring into this timeline in the physical, and then watching like myself release these belief systems and then continue to integrate in what I know to be true from the cosmic mind awakening into the heart. So yeah.
Yeah. It's so beautiful when it becomes that process where it's almost that simple of it's just recognizing that and being like, okay, yeah, I don't identify with that. I don't attach to that anymore. Like that can go, and just observing but not judging what's going on, which I think is a key part of not attaching to it, is not putting that judgment on it. And
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking about how I've been presented with a lot of things from my past, or like belief systems that I survived in to help me feel safe.
mhm.
And when it's challenging when other people believe certain things and they hold on to that as their identity. And it's like when I'm learning how to be in my light and my authenticity all the time, but um not allowing myself, or I guess to really like take on that belief system as being like, oh, I'm doing something wrong if I don't believe in what they believe, or something of that nature. It's hard to articulate, but it's interesting to come into contact with other beings that hold a very stern belief system as their identity, and then that gives me the opportunity to be like, okay, I really do trust in my intuition and my light and in my purpose, and then honoring that and remembering it in every moment has been coming up a lot too. So the intention behind me sharing my own personal experiences is because we've been talking about this stuff for these last couple months that we've been doing these videos. So I feel like, and also because you and I had set the intention to share our personal experiences to show people that, it's possible, and it shows a level of vulnerability and authenticity in what we're really dealing with. Um, yeah, I just think it's really important to share that stuff too.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Like we're all on this journey together, and that's the whole point, is to be sharing our experience and the wisdom that we've gained through going through this,
Mm,
as a collective. We're building like a family of people all going through this experience together. And I mean, that's the most valuable tool we have, is our own experience. And so, yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing. I really liked how, you know I think it's really important right now, because so many belief systems are being called into question,
yeah,
and there's so much going on, and there's so much misinformation, and there's so many people that believe so many different things, and there's so much different conflicting information, that it's like we really have to be firm in our own beliefs and not allow those to be influenced by other people,
yeah,
and especially when it comes to the awakening too. It's like we
yeah,
share this experience with each other and with other people. And if we aren't firm in our beliefs, then we may be afraid to say some things. And
yeah,
sometimes it's not our job to convince anybody to believe what we believe at all, but to be able to share what we believe and maybe open up people's minds to something that they may have not thought of before is a
yeah,
really important thing to be doing. And if we aren't firm in that, and we're kind of like, oh, I believe this, but I might be fucking nuts, or like this or that, like we're
yeah,
more apt to just stay silent. And
yeah,
so it's really anchoring into that and trusting our own intuition, trusting our own guidance. And that's how we build that muscle of our intuition and our connection with spirit, is by trusting in that and acting on that.
yeah. It's a really weird place to be because it's like knowing my belief system or knowing our belief systems is important, but also remaining open-minded and being willing to see things from a different perspective. So it's like it's this weird place where it's like, well, I want to be open to that fact that all these things are true to everyone from their own perspective, but am I willing to allow that? Am I willing to allow them to implement their belief system into me and create self-doubt? And that's really what has come up as I've been anchoring in this new timeline, where it's like I've been challenged, with those things. And that's why that dark night of the soul came up, because I had so much self-doubt that was being purged out within, where I had thought that I was real firm in something. And then I later found out, when I was placed in a different outside environment, that maybe it wasn't as strong as I was perceiving it to be, which is a great opportunity to be able to assist the growth in that too. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just thinking that as you were talking about that whole process of like that free exchange of ideas and information, right? Where we remain open-minded. So we have a belief, but that's always subject to revision or change. And so we can take in these other viewpoints, but we have enough of a centering in our own intuition and our own knowing that we're able to decipher between what resonates with us and what doesn't, and choose what pieces we may want to include or sort of revise or look at, but still be able to hold firm to like what is our truth.
Right. Yeah, it's a really beautiful experience. Just to be able to trust in our own light and in our own darkness, because I don't ever want to disregard that, because it's all us from a whole perspective. I mean, we're all one, but honoring like those shadows. And that's another thing that was coming up a lot and has been continuously coming up, is like the soul retrieval and the parts of me and that's what I mean by spiritually bypassing, is that I had left parts of myself in other timelines, and I was trying to just bypass it and go to this, quote unquote, this like higher vibrational timeline or energy, but then I was still abandoning parts of myself in all these areas and like almost rejecting myself in a way. So that's been a really cool experience, is to recognize, and I know you and I've talked about this too before, is like having the compassion for that aspect of ourselves in that moment, and being like, wow, like I can't believe that I was so hard on myself for that, or that I was unable to forgive myself, or I was punishing myself for these things because I thought I needed to be perfect, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been challenging, but it's been really cool.
Right. But that's so beautiful. And that's so key, is like, that's how we integrate those parts of ourselves, is by loving in them and showing them compassion. And, that whole process of forgiving ourselves and like knowing that like we're always perfect. And every experience that we've had a purpose, and every person that we've been helped us to be the person that we've become and we are becoming, and having love and acceptance for all of that. And the importance of not overlooking those shadow aspects of ourselves, which are calling out for love and calling out for attention. And that's that process of being whole, is we can't just focus on the light. We have to know that there are both aspects, and both of those aspects just want to be loved.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool to think about. I mean, from my own perspective and the belief system that I carry in regards to like reincarnation and all that, it's really cool, because I personally believe right now that I was able to come down this earth to retrieve those aspects of myself, and that in this lifetime I'm able to anchor in every ability that I've ever had in every life, to utilize it during this new age of Aquarius, which I know you're going to go into in another video. But it's really cool, because this is such a beautiful time for us to be alive, just to be able to witness it and to be able to utilize our abilities without being persecuted or punished, or whatever the case may be, and just to be able to witness people wake up.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that
Yes,
so
that's
beautiful?
exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. The embracing of all aspects of ourselves, the embracing of our unique gifts and the unique way that we shine our light in the world. And just, and that is that process of coming to embrace that, is embracing all of those aspects of ourselves and seeing the value in all of those aspects of ourselves and in every experience.
Yeah,
And yeah, we are totally doing all of that. It's so, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
I
It's
know.
beautiful.
It's so exciting too. Just to watch it happen, and like where the divine has placed me, I'm able to really witness it, and then also be of service, which I know you and I had briefly discussed on how we were both being guided to really be of service
Yeah.
and assist people and just uniting with their bodies, or recognizing certain things within themselves, or whatever the case may be. But just in general, just to be able to witness and assist someone in the process of the great remembrance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Just, it's, once we all, and I think it's really important too, this idea that like we always have something to give. Like I think for a long time I thought like, oh well, I have to get to this certain level of whatever, or like I have to know so much stuff, or feel like I've, like this is even a thing, mastered this, right, before
yeah,
I can share anything. And that's totally not true. We all have something to offer, and it's like having that confidence in ourselves to be able to offer that to others. And
yeah,
sometimes it could be as simple as offering someone a smile, or a kind word. It's like we can be of service in so many different ways. And that's part of why we share our personal experience on here, right? Is like when we encounter someone who's going through something that we've gone through, we have the experience like we got through that. So we have something to offer because we made it through. So it's just as simple as how did we do that? And that connection where we connect with somebody else and we share that we've been there, and it helps them to not feel alone. Because right now there are a lot of people who do feel alone. That's part of that dark night of the soul, like Kayla was talking about. We go through that process of just feeling absolutely misunderstood and totally alone. We don't even understand ourselves. We're looking at things that we didn't want to look at, or we didn't want to see or acknowledge, and judging ourselves for judging that. And there's so much that happens, and it's
yeah,
so important to have people in that process who can be like, yeah, I was there, I felt that, and I got through that, and like this is how I did that, and like you can do that too.
yeah,
It's like service takes so many different forms, and the more we evolve and go through this process, the more service we're able to do. And it's just, that's the highest aspiration of the heart, is service. Service to humanity. Like pretty most of the people watching this channel, I would say, like you have you have this mission of healing yourselves,
yeah,
but then there's also the mission of, as we heal ourselves, we heal the collective, we heal humanity, right? And then that process gets deeper and deeper, and the service aspect of that gets deeper and deeper. And it's just every time we give, we receive, and that flow of the energy, that giving and receiving, and that opening of the heart that occurs also through service.
yeah. Yeah, that's exactly true. And also what came to mind also when you were saying that was that sometimes being of service can just be being able to be present with somebody and listening to them,
Mm-hmm.
or just to be able to be present in general, because that can be challenging. It's like, with all the conditioning and programming, that we've all come into this world with, it's go, 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 do, consume, whatever, distract. But just to be able to be present, and that's another thing that I've been really guided to do. It's like the second that I start going off into all these things, I'm literally,
Yep.
spirit's like, nope, be present, nope, be present, nope, be present. And that's why I've been being guided to just be grounded and being in this timeline, because I'm not meant to be anywhere else. Sometimes there are moments when we're meant to really be in the other dimensions or other timelines to bring that energy in, or that data or whatever. But currently for me right now, it's like, no, like you need to be right here, right where your feet are, because that's obviously where I'm needed the most. So it just depends on, you know, your own personal mission and your own guidance, your own intuition. That's why it's so important to just follow your own intuition, because what I'm meant to be doing may be different from what you're meant to be doing and what Kassia may be, you know, needing to be doing. And, you know, granted, you know, we're all very similar, but in each moment, I believe personally that we're all meant to be doing something, you know, for our own soul. And I don't really know what that is for you or for anyone else. And of course, unless I was actually given permission to look into someone's energy. But, you know, I feel like the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a lot of like guidance that's like, oh, do this, do this, do this, and this is the way. And, you know, if you just meditate and do yoga for an hour and, you know, whatever. And there's like these regiments or routines. And it's like, no, you know, okay, yes, like that's awesome. But also, how do I know what you really need in this moment? Only you really truly know what you need. So just following that on your own intuition and your own light, I don't know, I feel is the key.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of, I feel like it keeps circling back around. Like that's like a huge message,
Yeah.
you know, of this discussion right now is just, and following your own intuition and your own light comes from, you know, being able to stand in your own energy and in your own light and to know and to connect to that part of you that does know what's best for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are a lot of people that have a lot of different ideas about what we should be doing, but it's like when we connect into that knowing, like we know when we go with that, like with this whole ascension process, that's so key, you know, even when it comes down to, you know, simple things like foods. Like
Yeah.
people will tell you what you should be eating for the ascension, but honestly, your
I
body will tell you if you know how to listen.
yeah.
That's different for everyone. It's totally different. I can relate. And it's funny because, and that came up in the live actually a few days ago too, is this idea. I talked about it, like fully incarnating fully, and how it's just really being present in this life and this experience, and how that allows us to anchor in so much more light because we are fully grounded and present. And it's like Kayla talked about earlier, it's like we really wanted to come here and this is such an exciting time to be
Yeah.
here, and like really allowing ourselves to be here, but also knowing when it's time to take a little break, you know.
Mhm.
We it's been most of this week, that's mostly what I've been doing, is just really being fully present in my life as well, and you know, connecting with loved ones, connecting with myself, connecting with nature. Been out in nature a lot, and that's been really a beautiful experience, you know. And just, and then, you know, the other night I did travel to some other galaxies and dimensions because that's what I was called to do. And you know, I came back with some things. I'm not even sure what all those things are yet, but I don't need to know. It's not, there's so much that happens on a level that is not logical and conscious. And it's just allowing that process to happen. And sometimes the best way to allow the energies and the activations and the different things we're receiving to integrate is just to be fully present and grounded and just be in the moment and just allow whatever is occurring to occur, you know. But still, like you said, listening to your body. Like yesterday I slept pretty much all day. That's what my body wanted to do. I tried to do some other things and it was just like, no, like
Yeah.
that's not happening. We're resting right now. And so it's just listening to that. We have the gift of really, a lot of us being able to do that right now and really listen to our bodies. It's so key. And yeah, just tuning into that.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the food piece, because I remember when I used to think the same thing. I'm like, I need to eat all these like really high vibrational foods, and I literally have been eating nothing but carbs. And honestly, like, I'm like, fuck it, whatever. Like, if this is what I'm guided to do, I'm just gonna listen to my body. I'm not gonna judge myself on that. You know, when I need to eat lighter, I'll eat lighter. When I need to eat heavier, denser foods, I will eat heavier, denser foods. Like,
Mhm.
that's the way that it works best for me, because I do have a pattern and a program of like this perfectionism and doing things, you know, always pushing myself, which is good, you know, in a sense. And I like to achieve things. And but like you were saying, it's basically an illusion to think that I've mastered something, or, you know, that I got this one down, let's move on to the next thing or whatever. And things are just shifting so much in regards to perception around how I thought that things should be, when all reality, all I have to do is accept myself for who I am and love myself in every moment, and then everything just comes to me anyways. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I literally was putting all this energy into trying to manifest things and, you know, create like all this stuff, and I really don't have to do anything because spirit always provides for me. Literally every single time, spirit always provides for me. Like the universe, it supports me. The universe conspires for me. And it's like, it's just so funny to like look at my other version of myself where I was like, I'm gonna write all these, which is awesome and it was a good experience, but to write all these like vision boards and, you know, use all my crystals, and which was super fun and everything, but I didn't have to do that really to anchor into this timeline, because it already is and already was and always will be. So
I love how Kayla and I had a conversation before we did the video today, and I love how all the stuff that we talked about is just organically coming back up.
yeah.
And it is, you know, it's another thing that we've both been experiencing is just this process of trusting and allowing and surrendering, like the process of surrendering to the process and just allowing it to be what it is, and just trusting and trusting in the knowledge that we're being guided and we're being cared for and everything's unfolding exactly how it's meant to. And just really putting, you know, I've been experiencing that as well. It's just really learning how to put my faith in spirit and to listen when spirit tells me to do something, even if it's something that's scary, or I'm like, I don't know if I'm really in the mood for that, or like, I don't know, like that doesn't make sense. It's actually a spiritual teacher of mine once told me, or many times told me something like, he gets guidance from spirit, and the less sense it makes, the better of an idea and a result it's going to be when he does it. He's like, oh, that makes absolutely no sense. Okay. And then does it. And it's because it's like, we don't see and we don't know. We can't, we don't have the sight that spirit has. You know, we don't, everything, all, you know, just like Kayla said, everything that ever is and will be already is, and all of that, right? And it all exists and it's all going to happen, but like we can't fathom what all of that is. So it's just about trusting and taking that next step and knowing that like spirit does know, and spirit is guiding us toward that highest manifestation of our authentic selves. And it's just about, you know, taking that step and taking that leap when it's time to do that, and just knowing that we're going to be caught, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like when everything seems like it's falling apart, usually the second that I let go of it, spirit catches me and something just shows up into my reality. So
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really fun process when you actually allow yourself to surrender into it and just be like, okay, all right, this is what we're doing. Like, I'm not going to spend my entire day trying to analyze and control and figure out, like, how is this going to happen? And how is that going to happen? You know, like, I'm going to take the next step and just be present in this moment and this experience, and just have that trust that things are all working out exactly the way that they're supposed to, and that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, and that just reminded me of like the heart-centered consciousness that we always talk about, because it moves. I mean, for me personally, and for my own perception, I believe that the cosmic mind awakening happens first, and then it does anchor into the heart, and then a part of anchoring that into the heart is releasing all that and really trusting in that energy. Which I know that it sounds so cliche because we always say it, and it goes, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, trust, yes, this and that. And sometimes it's not that easy, but I've received so much proof throughout my life that now I have enough things for my ego mind to really look back on and be like, oh yeah, I can trust because of this, this, and this. And it has been helpful that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That can be fun sometimes to look back and to see how everything lined up perfectly, especially all the stuff that didn't make any sense at the time and just felt like this cosmic mind fuck from the universe. And then you're like, oh, okay. And so then you can apply that again and be like, all right, so I'm in this space again where I don't understand any of what's happening, but I'm just going to trust and I'm going to allow, because I know that like this is going to be another instance in another, 5 months, 5 years, whatever, where I look back and I say, oh yeah, that was actually all lining up perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just, that whole process of like being receptive and being in that state of trust and allowance allows us to be receptive, and it opens us up to all the possibilities that are out there that we can't see.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
and I loved how you were talking about like the vision boards and the this and the that. It's like we can set an intention, but we can always be open to how that's going to manifest and how that might look even better than what we envisioned. And I think that's key, is just like speaking that. I've been getting a lot of guidance lately to speak my desires out loud to universe, to source, but, and I do that, but then I let it go and that's it. Like I let it go. And then when spirit gives me the little nudge or whatever, I listen. And that's all I have to do. Just let
Yeah.
it go, be fully present right now. And when spirit tells me to leap, I leap. Or sometimes it's not even a leap. Sometimes it's just a step.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Makes it a lot
I follow
easier.
the guidance when I receive it. And if I'm not receiving any guidance, that means I just chill. I
Yeah.
just chill and I just be present and I just allow whatever's unfolding to unfold, and not constantly think that I have to be doing something. I think, Kayla, you brought that up too, is like we live in this society where we're conditioned to think that we always have to be doing, and achieving. And sometimes like we don't. Like sometimes we just are supposed to be. And that's okay. And that's all part of the process too. This process of creation has all of these different cycles. And part of that cycle is the resting and the patience, and the waiting. Like we plant a seed, it's going to grow and we need to water it, and it needs sunlight. It needs to be nurtured. But at the same time, like there's not a whole lot that we can do while it's still underground, except honestly take a little breather ourselves too. Be like, wow, I did a great job today digging that hole and putting that seed in there and covering it back up and watering the soil, and like now I can relax for a little bit and actually give myself credit for the fact that I did plant this seed, and like appreciate myself for that. And like I don't have to come back outside every 5 minutes and see if it's sprouted yet. I can just trust that it's going to in its own time and just come back the next time it needs to be watered.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes down too. And that goes in perfect alignment with the timeline shift that I was just talking about, because it's like, as you were saying that, I was just imagining how I spent all these months actively participating and anchoring in this timeline, which I'm grateful I did, because I needed to learn how to do that. Well, remember how to do that. And I remember Spirit being like, enjoy this time while you still have it. And I kept hearing that over and over again before all the things in my physical world started to respond to my internal world, like in regards to the shift. Because obviously it happened first within me, and then things started to just shift around me physically. And now I think about that and I'm like, wow, I wish that I had listened to that. But it's funny how things work out. So, but yeah, I feel like that's basically it. But now that we know how to do this and how to record Skype videos, I'm excited to see what else we're going to conjure up.
Yes, this has been a very exciting step forward.
Yes.
It's been awesome. I hope you all enjoyed our little chat today. It was great to have you all with us, and we will definitely be doing more of this and more. Well, we're gonna get creative with it. We're creative beings, and
right.
So yeah. I mean, we're opening the door to whatever's gonna come next, and yeah, it was actually super funny when you said, I think this is it. And I nodded, I looked up and the time was 33:44.
Really? Oh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you that love numbers, when Kayla and I first got our screens connected together, it was 4:44. So yeah, this has been really great. And you know, it's been really great for me to get back into the energy and the synergy, and I'm sure it's been great for all of you guys too.
Yeah.
And you know, if you liked this video, like we always say, give her a like. If you
Yes.
want to catch more stuff, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications. We put out all kinds of interesting videos. We talk about everything to do with this process and just what it is that we're all going through. And, you know, just sharing in this experience together. So, yeah. And yeah, that's it.
Yep. All right. I love you all so much. I love you, Cass.
I love you. And I love you all.
All right.
And we will see you soon.
Namaste.
Namaste.